Hi, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Pardon. You're watching thevog.net. It's now time for everybody's favorite game show, Pass the Mic. A little applause, please. Yay! Well, it's not that exciting, but we're going to try this the second time. What we do, we have a group of panelists here. We have DSJR, we have Mark, MJW930, we have another Mark, Phoenix 9, and we have Andy from Volusia Motorsports, who's a dealer, so his opinions might not necessarily be his own, but will be the opinion of the dealership. Is that correct? Okay, are you ready for the first question for this version of Pass the Mic?
Sure.
There's been a lot of talk about trailering. Some people say you're not a real rider if you trailer your bike. Other people say, sometimes I want to take a vacation with my family. I feel the need to trailer so that when I get to my destination, I can do more riding. So today's question is, what's your thought about trailering a motorcycle? I'll pass the mic to Mark.
I happen to trailer motorcycles when we go on vacation because the wife and I both ride. We have two different bikes. We live 500 miles or so away from anything interesting to ride, so we put it in a trailer. We put it behind the truck and have a nice, comfortable, air-conditioned ride to the place where we're going to spend a week or two, and we ride all over that area, put it back in, go to another area, ride some more, put it all up, bring it home. For us, it's just a more enjoyable vacation. And I'll pass the mic to Andy.
You almost forgot the rules.
I did.
I'd agree with that, and it really is to suit anybody's personal circumstances, maybe stopping by, visiting family, other stuff on a vacation trip, but as long as you ride at some point. I'll pass the mic to Mark.
Well, I'd have to agree with those two statements. My bike has been, or my old bike was on a trailer one time when I moved from Chicago out to Arizona in 22 inches of snow and had to get my other car out there. So, let's face it, there's a reason why a bike needs to be on a trailer every once in a while. So I'm lucky enough I live in a great location. I don't have to ride very far to get up to, some scenic riding areas. But, I completely understand why a lot of people want to do that, or they want to take their family with them. So it makes a lot of sense. And with that, Don?
You forgot to say I'll pass the mic, but it's okay. He's a rookie.
Yeah. I'm actually one of the people that was totally against trailering bikes. I hated it. I hated to see a bike on a trailer. And then a few years ago, I got old at one point. I was like, this really isn't a bad idea. I could trailer my bike 1,000 miles away, not be beat up when I get there, and then enjoy the ride while I'm out there. So with that, I'll give you back the mic.
Okay, and usually I don't give an opinion, but I am on this topic because I've had some personal experience with it. And I remember when I lived in Texas, I had a business trip. I was just going to go from Houston to Corpus Christi. I needed my car for the Thursday and Friday during the work, but I wanted to take my bike and to be able to ride for the weekend. So I borrowed a friend's trailer. I trailered and had the best of both worlds. When the vacation was over, put the bike back on, went back. I don't see the issue, but to each their own. Now let's go to question number 2. Now we're standing in front of a hardball. We're going to get to that in a minute, but this hardball comes stock with ABS braking. So this Pass the Mic question is about ABS braking. Now it seems that before Victory included ABS braking on all their touring and bagger models, that everybody was screaming, we want ABS braking. Well, now they have it, and some people are now saying, well, ABS braking is not as good as the human, that humans can brake better. What is your opinion on ABS braking, and is it better or not as good as human intervention? I'll pass the mic to Don.
I hate ABS brakes. I don't like the way they feel, and I really don't think they belong on bikes. As far as stopping distance is concerned, when Victory didn't have ABS, they said their link braking was better than the ABS. Now that they have ABS, they're changing their tune on that. So, but yeah, I'm definitely against ABS brakes on bikes. And I will pass it to Phoenix.
Okay. Well, on ABS, on a car, it definitely makes sense. I've never had a need for ABS brakes on a bike. So from that standpoint, I think it should be optional. I think they should give the potential buyer the option on whether or not they want ABS, or whether they're going to put it on there. Like Don said, some people are just absolutely against it. I've just never had that opportunity or need for ABS, so I can't really tell you, pro or con, whether it's a good thing or not. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Andy. Thank you.
I think the industry, Victory's rivals, if they have ABS, then there's clearly if it's a reason not to buy a Victory because it doesn't have ABS, then I think that's a major part of the reason. ABS, can be an asset. I think I take the advice of a local police officer, motor unit, who explained that as he rides from his house every day, he does 2 quick stops within his neighborhood to really hone and sharpen up his skills. And I think that don't rely on ABS. We don't need to have those instant reactions very often, but when you do, you really do need it. And so to practice that as part of your routine makes you a better honed rider, and maybe don't need the ABS when something dramatic happens. So that was his advice, and I took that with his experience. And I'll pass that to Mark. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll be the lone contrarian here. I've had ABS on to now 3 of the last 5 bikes that I've owned. And contrary to Phoenix's situation, on 2 of them, they kept the bike upright. The bike didn't go over where it would have gone over in the other situation. One of them was loose gravel, the other one was in rain. So I think ABS is an asset on the bike if executed properly. Some of the ABS applications, and I haven't honestly ridden the Victories with the ABS, if done correctly, you don't even know you have ABS on the bike. If you're really that good on applying the right amount of pressure and keeping the wheel away from pending lock, you don't even know that ABS is on it. I've ridden some bikes that are like that. I've ridden other bikes where all you have to do is breathe on the lever and you can feel the ABS kick in. So I think it really depends on the execution, but I'm a firm believer in ABS. I think we ride these for enjoyment. We're not out there competing. We don't have to make the fastest turn or the fastest stop. We just need to be safe. And to me, ABS adds a layer of safety that I think is it's kind of foolish to not want it on a motorcycle. So on that, I'll pass it back to Andy.
Okay, we have one more question on today's Pass the Mic, and there's a reason that we're standing behind the Victory Hardball. Today's Pass the Mic question is, what gives with the hardball? I mean, it's a bike that when anybody sees it or test rides, they see it in person, everybody loves it. They talk about when they take a test ride that with their fist forward position, that some of the common comments I've received was that I never thought I'd be an ape hangers kind of guy, but this thing really handles very well and it feels good. But the question is, why isn't this bike selling? It's selling a little bit, but it's not like the other bikes in the Victory lineup that have just taken off and gone. It's sitting here. It's a good-looking bike, but I'm not seeing a lot of movement in it, or not a lot of new buyers of it on the VOD. Now, I'm not privy to Victory's numbers. I could be incorrect. So my question is to you, what's your opinion on the Victory Hardball? I'll pass the mic to Mark, the other Mark.
Okay.
Well, I got to tell you, first off, I just bought a Crossroads LE, so I love this bike. I absolutely love this bike. I could see a lot of people wanting this bike. The ape hangers are fantastic. They work very well with this style of bike. Guys that want to ride, very forward with them up high, they can do that. If they want to stretch them back and pull them back, kind of like the Vision, you can do that as well. The paint on this bike is fantastic. I like the flat black. I like the design on everything. The only thing I don't necessarily am not a big fan of is the spoked wired wheels, just because you got to have tubes in there. I'd like a tubeless tire. But other than that, this is a fantastic bike. Why it's not selling? I think they could sell this thing like crazy. To me, it's the price point. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, but it doesn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Don.
Well, pretty much what he said. The bike is a great bike. It handles great. I've taken it out on test rides a few times, and there's nothing I don't like about the bike except it doesn't have a tire pressure monitoring system. But the price is just ridiculous. $19,000 for ape hangers, basically. So I can't see paying $2,000 to $3,000 more just to have the ape hangers. I could go out and have a custom paint job done for the same price. And with that, I will pass it to Andy.
Thank you. I think one comment I would make is the bike, when you see it again in person in the dealership, it really does stand out. We get a lot of attention to it. I think it's a great bike to ride down to a bike night. We have got some customers interested in it, and I think it may take a little more time for this to develop its place within the Victory lineup, and partly because not every dealer has one in stock. 19,000 is a lot of money for a bike, and there are choices within the cross country range, or to take a crossroads and customize it as Don suggested. But it's a cool looking bike. It does draw people to the brand, and we have one. Here's Mark.
Well, I think the bike, actually, your point about it seeing it in person, I didn't like the bike at first when it was kind of a why sort of thing when I saw it unveiled. But when you see it in person, you say, okay, it's a very pretty bike. And when you sit on it, and I've never been one to ride ape hangers, you sit on it and it's like, okay, this isn't really as uncomfortable as I thought it would be. So there's a lot to like about the bike. I mean, the only thing not to like about the bike is the price. So maybe when the next model year rolls around and there's some nice incentives, they'll move the ones that haven't moved between then and now.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time. These Pass the Mic things can spark some good conversations online. So if you see one of the topics that we talked about, you want to join the thread. If you're watching this on YouTube, just go to thevog.net. If you're watching on the Vog, just put your comment below, and we'll go from there. For thevog.net, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and I'll see you on the road and online.